Storm tomorrow, high 82. Currently 78. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Mike Madigan runs the Democratic House floor for 30-plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving
Dan
out.
and Amy, looking at the New York Times dashboard again. Total COVID cases the last week, 10 days really, June 22nd to July 5th, 744 Cook County. 7-day rolling average of COVID-related deaths.
In Illinois, yes.
No, Cook County.
Cook County, okay.
One, 7-day average. The weekend violence, 106 shot, 17 dead.
So what's more of a problem? COVID cases or gun violence?
For more on this, Ted Dabrowski joins us, President at Wirepoint, wirepoints.org. Ted, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy.
Morning. One of the things that we talk a lot about here, but it's still not talked about enough, is, okay, police on their heels and Triple Threat and David Brown are imperfectly trying to implement some sort of George Kennan policy of containment that we've seen from previous mayors and police chiefs. But on the other side of the justice system, you still have this lagging problem. We don't have a prosecutor who wants to prosecute criminals. We don't have a court system that for much of the past year, including into this year, has been functioning. And so to the extent that we have judges who do want to sentence criminals who are convicted, which is a problem, we don't clearly have enough in Cook County Circuit Court. The courts aren't operating and moving cases, even in the rare instance that the Cook County State's Attorney is intent on doing so.
Yeah, I think, this major chaos going on, and you're seeing that come out where Lightfoot is complaining about Evans, about Fox. They're starting to fight with each other and effectively eat each other. And that starts telling you that the whole thing is not working because, in theory, they're on the same side, and yet, they can't figure out how to prosecute, how to keep people off the streets, and it's become a big mess. And I don't know how it straightens itself out because they're in control of the whole thing. They've got all the power in every position right now to fix this, not to fix the actual crime problem, but to make it smoother, let's call it, in how it operates. And right now, they don't have that.
But it's
and that's why they're angry with each other.
Yeah, but it's not as if 26 and Cal is busting at the seams. There's room. It's not a capacity in jail issue. And I know they're trying to vacate some people because of COVID, but why? I mean, why not? So we had 61 people arrested on the 4th of July, or some for gun possession, some for resisting arrest, because there was a flash mob that attacked the city. Of those 61 people, how many do you think their charges are going to be dropped? Well,
oh, geez. Yeah, who knows, right? But who knows? Yeah, but the thing is that they're struggling to resume criminal trials, all this stuff, and COVID is effectively done as it relates to opening up all this. There's no excuse now. It's the same thing as the unemployment offices. Why are they still closed? I think we talked about that last time, but they continue to hide behind COVID, and it's unexplainable other than it's just sheer ineptitude or corruption. I'm not sure which one.
Mm-hmm. And same with the DMV. I don't know if you've seen the lines wrapped around the DMV at the Thompson Center and other places because they're not having a full staff of employees because they want to socially distance. Well, we don't need to socially distance anymore.
No, yeah, I took my son about 2 months ago, and yeah, it wrapped all the way around a building that I was at. I think it's out in Schaumburg. 3-hour wait. Yeah, because we're socially distanced
You
way
know,
outside.
you know what we need there in the Secretary of State's office? We need a failed mob banker to become the Secretary of
Oh,
State
that's right.
to get that office up and running like it should. Don't you think, Ted?
Well, yeah, don't we have that everywhere?
Well,
Well, LEG's coming.
we got Jesse White still in his custodial phase of his career.
We
Secretary
won't
of State.
we won't put him there. Yeah.
Yeah, but LEG, that should be good. Broadway.
He
Bank,
wants the job, yeah.
Broadway Bank bailout recipient. For those of you who have no institutional memory, which mainly I'm talking about the Chicago Press Corps. Ted, Rich Miller, who is one of the state's biggest cheerleaders for the status quo, wrote this recently. You can't, on the one hand, constantly harp about the decades of Illinois credit rating downgrades and then blithely dismiss the first bit of good Illinois rating news since George Ryan was governor. It's okay to step away from the Illinois is awful screaming for a moment, Ted, in the wake of last week's upgrade of Illinois' bond rating by Moody's Investor Service. While not the end of our problems by any means, what a concession. This signals yet another important fiscal turning point. Is the Moody's upgrade to one step above junk? Is that a real fiscal turning point, as Rich Miller suggests?
No, this is the whole thing. We wrote kind of opposed the whole celebration because it's kind of like taking a deathly sick patient or very ill patient and then giving them tons of cocaine and they're up and running around, but they're not any better, right? They're just on a high, and that's what Illinois is like with this $138 billion that we've gotten from the federal government. The only reason we're doing better is because of that bailout. And we need to be reminded that that's not real money. So it's bad across the board because it's the federal government, the feds printing money, borrowing trillions of dollars to kind of bail out the state. But in the end, it's all fake, right? And it's not real money. It's not a real economic growth. It's just it's a high, a cocaine high, or whatever you want to choose as your example.
Well, but with respect to those pension funds, I understand we're looking forward to windfall returns because some of Illinois' pension fund managers have identified heretofore underinvested opportunities in Africa to produce the kind of returns that we need to shore up $250 to $400 billion in unfunded liabilities?
Yeah. There are no returns right now to solve the problem. The only real way to solve this is to reduce the debt. We've got so much debt. And I was just looking at Chicago, talking about the problems in Chicago and the crime and what that can mean. It can mean unraveling of real estate values, have fewer people come into the city from the suburbs. And that means that there won't be enough revenues in the city to pay back its debts. And the pension debts in the city alone, take what city households are on the hook for both state, local. Each Chicago household is on the hook for about $150,000 each. They'll never be able to pay that.
No.
Especially when you take out the people who can't pay a penny. So it's a disaster, and this is all adding up. And I think the crime, coming back to the crime for a second, and tying it back to pensions and tying it back to Miller's comments. Right now, Chicago has no way out, and the celebrations only hurt the chances of listening to what are some of the ideas for reforming things and making Chicago, in the future viable. His comments are only hurt.
The NEA had a National Education Association, the country's biggest teachers union, had a real productive national meeting last month. I don't know if you've had a chance to review all the business items on the agenda. It's quite expansive. And this goes to thinking about schools reopening and everybody focused on COVID policy and not focus enough on what the NEA and its minions have planned for the kids, whether they're in classroom or not. And I'm not just talking about critical race theory. Some of the business items that were adopted, there's almost a couple hundred worth of them, but things like this. NEA shall identify, compile, and share on NEA Ed communities existing decolonizing the curriculum resources to educators seeking to be anti-racist in their classrooms and use existing communications and social media to promote it through their affiliates so the rank-and-file educators can utilize the resources in their classrooms. So if you thought that the teachers' unions were going to back off this identitarian indoctrination because of some of the pushback you're seeing from parents in Chicago Metro and around the country, you would be wrong.
Yeah, I think it's a real war, and it's gonna heat up. I think there's no doubt in my mind as I travel around the state that people are shocked with this critical race theory and the imposition of it in schools and all that. But the question is the unions have massive power. They've got tons of money. They've got control of the legislatures in most places or many places, so they can shove this thing down our throats, just like they did in Illinois with this teacher standards, where the legislature didn't even vote on it. Some commission did, and it's law of the land here in Illinois, and that's going to happen in many states. The question is, how hard is it to undo, and how hard is it to push back at the local level? And the parents aren't organized enough to push back, so this is going to be the big thing. How well can parents organize? How well can we got a place like Illinois trying to create a parents' union to push back? It's going to take a lot because the unions have the power right now.
Yeah, and parents want to push back against critical race theory, but also about mask wearing, because there's been no definitive answer of what the plan is for the fall.
Yeah,
have you heard any school district that has a plan? The only one I heard is the Unified Teacher School District in Los Angeles. They're going to go back Monday through Friday, mandatory mask wearing, even if you've been vaccinated. But I don't know of one school district who has something set in place for the return in the fall.
Well, there was one, the brave one downstate. I forget which city, which said they weren't going to use masks, and they got punished by ISB, by the State Board of Education. I forget who else punished them.
Right.
And so they wanted. There is no clarity. The big union, the big district association in Illinois is asking for clarity. I don't think we're getting any clarity. They're going to play it to the last minute, like they did school openings, where they have full control because nobody knows what the heck is going on. But what I'm doing, for example, I'm talking to my superintendent this week with the data, trying to understand where he is, and then I'll message to the New Trier area where I live, and that's what I recommend everybody do. FOIA for who's vaccinated, FOIA for what the percentage of staff is vaccinated. Use the data and start creating conversation among your community.
Well, I just cannot wait till we talk to you next week and hear the results of that meeting with the New Trier High School superintendent. That should be a fascinating discussion you have. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's. I think we've had success in pushing back, especially on school openings and things like that. They were only hearing from the unions. That's why they started to do whatever they did, because parents weren't speaking up. And once we did that with Open New Trier, which is a group we created, we helped open up the school more, Dan. So
you guys did a great job. I mean, you should be commended. You guys were open long before any other school districts were.
No, I know these superintendents. We read a missive from the Hinsdale District 86 superintendent last week. She sent out to parents and stuff, looking for more guidance from the state and from public health authorities, because she just has no idea. Just like in New Trier, I mean, they have no idea what to do if the pediatrician at Department of Health or one of these politicians at the state level isn't telling them what to do. They can't figure it out on themselves. The collective wisdom of all of these highly educated, wealthy residents of Hinsdale or New Trier, I mean, they're just at a loss. They don't know what to do, Ted. Do we wear the mask? Do we not wear the mask? What do? We don't know what to do. Dr. Ezike, help us at New Trier or Hinsdale. We don't know. We can't think for ourselves.
Yeah, I tell you another thing that we're going to push back against is a lot of these school districts have these reopening advisory boards. Some of them are not approved by the board. They're just kind of this ad hoc administrative type groups, and they have a lot of power, and most of them are populated by unions and not parents. And so we're going to try to get ahead of that and push for, hey, we want more parents on those boards. So it's a continuous step, Dan. As you know, this is hard, but this is how you fight back one step at a time.
All right, Ted Dabrowski, fighting the fight in New Trier, and also at Wirepoints. Wirepoints.org is the website. Ted, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning